All right, so welcome to the Chantay Golson Show, where every entrepreneur, C-level and above, will learn how to stand on their feet, gain their energy and motivation, as well as have outcomes and revenue increase for our business owners. I have a special guest today, and my particular guest today brings a unique spin on the concept of entrepreneurship as well as empowerment. So we have Miss Dawn Berry here with us, and she states that she specializes in living your truth through empowerment, certified life and health coach. So many people call her the empowerment coach. I want to welcome Dawn Berry today. Thank you for being here with us on the Chantay Golson Show. How are you today?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me, Chantay. It's truly an honor to be here.
Absolutely. You are absolutely welcome. And so you tell us that there's an importance to time management for any entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about how important it is to have time management.
Well, people who are unorganized are also very flustered. And as an entrepreneur, that is the last thing you want to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to figure out exactly what needs to be done and when, just to have almost a peace of mind going into each day as an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, tell us about the peace of mind for an entrepreneur, for those maybe that haven't found that, I guess, that routine to maintain the peace of mind. What is peace of mind about, and why is it so necessary?
As an entrepreneur, it's almost impossible to go about your day without knowing what's going to happen, because you want to be organized all the time. And it's truly important to figure out when you're the most productive. And then you can start scheduling around that. For me, it is from like 5:30 in the morning until 9 a.m. And that's when I can really get things done. For a lot of people, it may be afternoon or even around lunchtime that they're more able to get their head around certain concepts, or such as accounting. If you have a day that you have to do accounting, you want to be able to get your head around the numbers and not be, oh, okay, I can't do this today, I'm going to have to put it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's relevant to the energy that we have in understanding the schedule and how important it is and what tasks are necessary towards that energy level. So we all know the more energy you have in the morning time, the tasks that are more tedious are important to start at that particular point. Because as the day dwindles down, you kind of lose that energy, you lose that motivation. And so a lot of entrepreneurs, and even, C-level and above executives, they have this concept that getting away from their work, taking a break, is something that's not a good thing. It's kind of shunned upon, especially in the corporate world. Eat lunch at your desk and don't go too far and things of that particular sort. And then you have other people who take it tremendously way to the next degree. They go far, they leave work, don't come back, because I was one of them. I'm a testament, especially when I went through the burnout season. I wanted to get away and stay away until the next day, or not even go the next day. So with that being stated, how do we, number one, develop a schedule? How do we do that? And what is the purpose? You've already told us a little bit about the purpose of the schedule, but tell us more about the effectiveness in your productivity when there is a schedule.
Well, there's a better productivity because you've already figured out when you're most proactive in certain tasks. But even just getting up in the morning and saying, this is what needs to be done today, and I've scheduled this much time to do it. Mm-hmm. and then I can walk away from it. And there's certain tasks, like you've got your A tasks, which are going to be time sensitive.
Okay.
And then you've got your B tasks, which are more on the intellectual level. So it would be more like copywriting and marketing and stuff that you really have to think about. And then you have your C tasks. And those are basically what you were referring to, is getting up and getting away for a little bit, be it 15 minutes, be it half an hour, just to be able to leave the mindset that you're in. Because sometimes we just get so stuck, we can't see the trees through the forest.
Right, right.
So that break of stepping back rejuvenates you and allows you to come back with a different sense of where you're at or what you need to be doing.
Okay. So when you step away for a better sense and change an environment, it does reorient the brain a bit in terms of moving away from pressure, then relief. Then if you're going back to what considers the pressure, it may not look the same immediately, because what's happening is your brain is reforming itself due to that concept of being away. And so then your perspective changes a bit. You may be caught on a problem or caught on something, and when you go away, you come back, then you can see it clearer. Oh, okay, well, let me just do this. So that's the power of breaks. It really is. It's not just about being a slacker. Power of breaks helps rejuvenate, helps you to see better, give you clarity, because when you're in the midst of tasks and you have a lot on your plate and you're not organized, right?
Well, and it's been proven that, go ahead, sorry. It's been proven that when you take more breaks, you're actually more productive. Because of just what you were saying, the whole mindset gets to reset.
Yeah, and that's important. And we want everybody to know you're not a slacker if you get away from the pages. Just get away to resolve yourself, to be mindful, to sit in the space. Do not be careful to take a break inside of the building. Be careful about that, because your brain can look at it as somewhat the same environment, because the environment equals pressure sometimes. And so that's why it's important to walk out the building for a few minutes. Just walk down a parking lot or around the building, or call a friend, text a neighbor, change the trajectory of your thought process in the midst of this break. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself being in the same, because if you take the paperwork visually on the outside, trying to figure the problem out, you might as well have just sat there. Right? So that's a key component. I probably will do another show about those particular aspects. But Don, let's talk about, now you told us about a list, a A, a B, and a C. So how do we figure out the best way to get organized? Because there's so many things on the plate. How do I know this goes to A? How do I know this goes to B? How do I know this goes to C?
Well, your A tasks will be ones that are time sensitive. So I use the example of accounting.
Yeah, you did.
With the Canadian tax system, we submit taxes quarterly, which means they're time sensitive. If you're late, you're going to pay a penalty. So you're going to want to make sure that is scheduled for a time that you can actually sit down and you've got it quiet and you can think. And then you've got your B tasks, which are going to be your intellectual tasks. And some people are just awesome on Monday mornings when it comes to ideas and creativity. Others of us are not. So you're going to get into and figure out what your best days are, what the best times of days are, and focus the intellectual tasks in the times that are best suited for you.
Now tell those that are not aware what intellectual tasks are. What is that specifically?
That would be marketing. So you're trying to figure out the wording for the marketing. You're trying to figure out where the marketing's going to be going. Any emails that may be sales related that you really have to focus on to answer would be put on to a B task. And that's one of the things that a lot of people really get bogged down in, is they get into the emails and then they're there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, unless it's a very important email, don't put it in as an intellectual task, because a lot of it's just noise.
Yeah. So intellectual tasks are more so those tasks that are relevant to you sharing your message with the world. So anything that's relevant to me. Okay. And that's why, when you talk about the emails, that's why it's so important. We were talking about scheduling earlier. Never hit your email box early in the morning. Don't do it.
Exactly.
Do it, because you're going to get stuck, as she stated. And then you're going to get flustered over what these emails are. And your emails are not even the money-making task that helps you to move on to the project, or finalizing the contracts, or the vendors, or your non-receivables, all these particular things. So as she stated, they are noise, but there are times that you should check your emails. So what you have to do is you have to determine, how many times will I check my email a day? That's number one. Put that on your schedule and be consistent with it. Now, there may be times where somebody's saying, I'm going to send you an email immediately. If that's relevant to your project, look at that and that alone. Close the email box after that, because you're tempted to see all these particular things, or you may not be tempted or motivated at all to check your emails, because that's one of the things that happens when you burn out. You don't want to see nothing. You don't want to engage. You don't want to read a "the" on anything, because you just want to get away, and it's causing you anxiety. So that's why you want to get away. So these particular aspects, there's something that you have to include in your organization. So for an example, what I do, I never check my email in the morning time. I check my email after I complete about 3 productive tasks that I had already set up in my evening routine, or before I left the office. So they're already written, ready to go, and I have a time management system. So for anybody want to pick up my time management system, go to www.coachchantay.com/burnout, and you will get that PDF where I'm showing you exactly what my time management system is. It is different from any other time management system. I developed it myself as a result of burnout. And you feel so proud of yourself. You feel so good in how easy it encourages you to complete your task, no matter how difficult it is. And I've taught hundreds of people my task, my time management system task. So yeah, time management is totally important to get organized. And then I would add this in for those small business owners who can, or who has freelancers or virtual assistants or secretaries, and this can be relevant to the executives as well. Delegate things that are irrelevant to your intellectual property. Give it to somebody else and let them report back to you. Because a lot of times the emails they really are fluff. They really are fluff. So you probably have 1% of emails that are important towards your day in your box. 1%. So with that being stated, we're talking about organization done, and we're talking about helping entrepreneurs at this particular time with this organization thing, because it is something out of this world when you are not. you're losing a lot of money. It costs more to procrastinate and delay. A lot of people don't see that. The cost not only is money, the cost is time. When you lose a lot of time, you end up losing more money, end up paying the contractor, the vendor, the tax man, the government more than you would if you did not have this costly time. And that's very important. A lot of people don't focus on that. I probably will focus on that one of the podcasts. So in light of what I'm talking about, Don, you stated that there's some automation necessary to happen in your business. Can you tell us what you mean by that?
I prefer Google Calendar just because with my computer, for the things that need to be done, they pop up on my computer because it's been linked to the iOS. So that helps keep me organized, because as an entrepreneur, sometimes you get caught up in things. You start a project that you've designated 45 minutes on. It's not something that has to be done right away. So you're going to do little bits of it each day.
Mm-hmm.
And you get so focused on it that at the 45-minute mark, you're like, oh, I can just do another half hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and it's yeah, and it's staying disciplined to your schedule. That's going to emotional cost really has to be put out there as well. Like you were saying with the burnout. And when you're not organized and you've got everything on your plate, you're more apt to get burnt out just because all of a sudden everything needs to be done.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have been planning, okay, 15, 20 minutes of that here. And then by the end of the week, your big project has been broken down to smaller steps. And it was actually a lot less than you thought you had to do when you're doing it in little steps and you're coming in fresh every time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you use Google Calendar. Do you use any other automation systems?
I use Calendly as well for booking clients. So I can send them the link. They can see what's available at what time. And that's actually linked to my Google Calendar as well. So in the morning, I can open up the calendar, see what's on the day's schedule, and then work from there. So if I have clients, then they're all scheduled in. I can do 15 minutes beforehand to get ready for the clients, and then we know what's happening that day. And I actually, through Calendly, have days specified for clients, an actual coaching call or a strategy call or just a 15-minute touch base. So it makes it a lot easier when you know what's coming up.
Yeah, it does. In your organization, and I use a lot of automation as well. I use Calendly. Calendly is hard to say. CALENDY.
It is.
And I use Outlook as well as Google. They're all linked up. I also use several CRM systems based on what business I'm working on, and that hosts the information, provides notes, pop-up reminders for the tasks that you have to do for. So yeah, there are all type of automation systems. I can really run down a list of automation systems, but maybe that's to be announced a little bit later. So does time management, especially if you incorporate automation and you incorporate a schedule, your A, your B, your C list, does time management get easier over time?
Once you start to get used to sitting down and opening up your calendar, it just feels like a whole weight off your shoulders when you've spent either the Friday night planning your week or 2 weeks in advance or a month in advance or You've put the important things on a calendar and there's still some spots. It's so much easier to be able to breathe when you know, okay, this is what I have to do today. And we've got it all figured out, so it's already on my desk. So you can actually prep at the end of every day for what's going to happen the next day. And that way you're not all over the place going, oh, right, that was over there, and that was over there. And so the first 20 minutes, what you're actually doing is avoiding work because you're gathering everything that you need to actually start work. So it does get easier when you get into the habit and into the routine.
Okay. All right. So consistency is what you're really saying the key is.
Exactly.
Okay. To make it second nature. Okay. Yeah, because a lot of people just start work with the idea that they have, and they'll find themselves swimming in the deep waters. And by the time they pop their head up, they haven't completed any single money-making activity. Unless you have a service business when you're servicing people, and then you have all of the overflow in the back that continues to be added to your list over and over, and you never get those completed. And so that's how your plate becomes just too full. And when your plate is too full, there are a lot of the emotional or mental health things that takes place. That's the increase of stress. If you don't deal with the stress over time, it can turn into anxiety. And then it also, if you don't deal with it from that particular point, it can turn into major health issues. Now I'm skipping some steps, but that's really how it really flows. And so, and yes, I am legally eligible to say that as a medical provider. So, so with that being stated, listen, your mental health is all you have, right? And so you have to cultivate your mental health, your mental wellness by putting things in your day every single day. Now, and here's a good point though here, Don, not just work days, but those off days too, because guess what? As an entrepreneur, your brain doesn't turn off unless you teach it for your private time. You'll be sitting here, okay, Tuesday I got a meeting. It's Sunday. Tuesday I got a meeting. And no. You have to train your brain to turn off. And one of the small aspects that I incorporated in turning my brain off towards work versus personal is I make a statement to myself out loud. A couple of statements. When I'm leaving the office, I'm leaving the office. This is my personal time. Anything regarding the office, you're not allowed. But that was a constant affirmation that I spoke every time, not just when I thought about it. I needed to make it something that I remember. So what initially you can start putting in your calendar at the time that you mostly leave so that you can see it because you're paying attention to your phone. That's number one. And then sometimes I would have those thoughts about work when I'm literally in my house or in my car. If I'm not traveling to one of my offices, here's what I would say. No, you're not allowed. I'm on my personal time. I'm literally sitting ABCD to remind my eyes to associate what I'm singing with personal time. So if I'm sitting in my car, I'm sitting on my car seat that belongs to me. So these are the things that are important that I teach my particular clientele about. It's just not about what you're doing at work, it's what you're doing at home, and it's also what you're not doing.
Completely. And the boundaries are something that you need to set and you need to stick to.
Yes.
And you brought up delegation, and I cannot, that is so important when there's the little tasks that you don't need to be bothered with.
Right.
And there's somebody that, could you do this for me? It's 5-10 minutes. And then they can come back to you and go, okay, this is what the email said, or this is how I dealt with this. But it's not going to be earth-shattering, and it's off your plate.
Yeah. And so I want
So
yeah, yeah, so important, especially if as you're growing and scaling in your business, there are going to be things that you should not touch at all. Why are you touching? It's not that you are above the task. That's not what I'm talking about, because you as the entrepreneur or the leader should know every aspect of that office, every aspect of the work, every aspect of the clientele. But at some point, you need to leverage that knowledge versus copying your own paper, going and get your own lunch, answering the phones. So these are particular things. And you may say, well, where do I find this help? Now, you want to be careful in bringing in others who you feel like cannot take you to the next level. You should always hire individuals that their intellectual property or their skills are different than yours, but they complement yours. So for an example, I have several assistants who build my back end, my funnels, my sites, this and that. I know how to do it. Yeah, I had needed to learn so I could critique what they were doing. But do I want to touch it? No. So anything techie goes to one individual. Anything writing blogs or what have it goes to another individual. So you want to be careful about bringing in friends and family temporarily. You want to be very, very careful on that. Okay, it just unfortunately doesn't work all the time. Now, where you can find individuals, VAs or freelancers, you can go on several sites. So two of the sites that I go on is Upwork.com, where you have experienced people who know different things that you don't want to put your hands on. It could be from writing your bio. It could be from writing articles, blogs. It could be for techie stuff. Oh, it could be all sorts of things. You want them to write a letter for you to send somebody. You're checking your emails. The list goes on. And another site that I use is Fiverr.com. So what I'll try to do is put in these links below for the audience. Don, do you have any particular go-to VA platforms or anything to share?
actually, it was Upwork as well.
Okay.
I really enjoy it, and everything's up front so that you can interview the people and see if they're a match, and then just go from there.
And then one thing that I've learned most of the time is to keep the transaction on the platform, because it is the platform that gives you the guarantee, meaning get your money back if you don't like something. So keep in mind, little tips, little things. I even teach my executives who have a lot on their plate. If it is not something that's HIPAA compliant, too sensitive information, hire somebody else to do it. And the audience may say, well, that's why they have staff. Well, the staff already have delegated things. There are other small things that somebody else can do to get it off your plate. So these are just some tips that we participate in helping us maintain a peace of mind in our business and to maintain our energy and productivity flow. And these are the things that we all have to learn if we want to be successful. Well, Don, I thank you so much for joining me on today. I appreciate your availability. And so we wish you well. Is there any closing remarks you want to make today?
Just that it was a pleasure being here, and I hope everybody got something to take away from it today.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, you know that we're here every Tuesday or every Thursday based on the podcast. And so I want you to remember that if you have any questions or thoughts or show ideas, go ahead and send me a voice message at anchor.fm/Chantay Golson/message. So we'll see you on the next podcast.